happen.
Exactly. Would I be able to get a copy of the recording if I needed it?
You can after everything is said and done. We don't release any evidence until the case is closed, but afterwards, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, what do you need to tell me? What's been going on?
A lot. So much, and it's involved my children now. So Austin and I had a horrible relationship, and I was trauma bonded to him, and he like played on my weaknesses and made me like want his approval, and like he skewed my mind so bad that I'm just barely now getting out of it, and he's been gone for a year, little over a year. And I'm just barely starting to see what's going on, especially now that he's got his family involved in making false reports about me. So much so that they got my babies taken 3 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
Today was 3 weeks.
Okay.
And so now his family has my babies. And I have a lot of like evidence to support why I think that they're not just worried about the kids, why they're doing this as a punishment to
retaliate against you.
Yes, retaliate against me for putting him in jail is what they say.
Okay.
Because I have the handcuffs, totally took him to jail and threw him in.
Right.
Threw away the key,
So, tell me, since the case a year ago, what has gone on since that case?
So he's been in contact with me nonstop ever since. He started calling me when I got to Texas, because I took off. I talked to you last year. Yeah. I was like, I'm leaving. I don't want to chance me having my daughter. I was pregnant, 9 months pregnant with my daughter, and I had a 1-year-old. And I was afraid that they were just going to let him right back out, and that he was going to show up at the hospital and take my son. And I wouldn't be able to do anything because I had C-sections and stuff. So so I just left. I went to Texas. And I tried telling everybody about it, but the only person I could get a hold of was Cheryl. I think we were the only person. And so I went, and pretty much as soon as I got there, he called me, and he's calling me from other people's PIN jail, so using other people's. And then his dad started sending me pictures of letters that he wrote to me.
Okay.
Because he didn't know my address. So his dad was texting me pictures of letters. I printed those out and I brought them today.
Okay.
And I was in contact with his mom, so my ex-mother-in-law, his sister-in-law, so his brother's wife. I was in contact with her. I have a bunch of texts from her, and they're saying, just come back, we'll help you, I promise, you'll have all the support you need. And I believed them. I believed they really cared about the kids, and so when I got back from Texas, my apartment was completely flooded from them installing my swamp cooler wrong, and so we were homeless for 2.5 months while they did repairs. They didn't put us up in another place. It was a whole issue with them, with my apartments, and so Austin's family really did not help us at all. During that time, they didn't offer us any food. They didn't offer to help us find shelter. And so I started becoming suspicious.
Hi guys. Hi. Here. Sorry I'm late. I'm stuck on stage.
I hope you don't mind we started without you.
I'm glad you did. Thank you.
And we are on the record recording.
All right. I'm Michael. I'm one of the DAs. This is Christian.
So Michael Fisher and Christian, what's your last name? Christian Stone are here.
So Vicki is filling us in on what has transpired since last year.
Right. Okay.
So you moved back from Texas. There was a leak from your swamp cooler. You were homeless. And then what happened?
And so I started becoming suspicious that Austin's family, who would promise all the support and everything, they would even help me with the kids. I mean, it got to the point where I was wondering, what do I do with the babies? They must be uncomfortable. I was sitting in the DHS building, and I was texting Austin's mom, and she was like, no, don't bring them into DHS. I'll come get them. So she sent her daughter-in-law, Brittany Elder, to come and get the kids for a little bit, because I was so overwhelmed. I had nowhere to stay. I was sleeping in my garage. And so she came and she got Apollo, Apollo's my 1-year-old. He's 2 now. He just had a birthday. And so she took him, and they kept him for 5 days, and that was a relief for me because he was the one that was really suffering. He couldn't do very much, And so they brought him back to me after 5 days, and I was at my dad's house at that point, so we were able to stay the rest of the month at my dad's. So we had a little bit more stability. And Krishana is my ex-mother-in-law, Krishana Elder. After that, she started to take Apollo on the weekends. So Saturdays from like 11:30 to 4 or 5 p.m.
Okay.
And then we started doing Thursdays from 4 to 7. So that gave me a lot of relief from him because I had 2 babies. And
yeah, it's nice to have some time.
Yes, and so she consistently, watched them, and so that was really helpful. We moved back into our apartment, and then she started to take my oldest son, to my 6-year-old, on the weekends as well.
Okay.
She never ever wanted to take Artemis because Austin always denied her. Austin always said it was a whore, and that's not his daughter, and he wants a DNA test, and he'll never love her, and all kinds of stuff. So, they didn't even want anything to do with her.
Is she the baby?
Yes, she's the baby.
What is her name?
Artemis.
Artemis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I have Apollo and Artemis Elder. They're Irish twins, and they're both Geminis. It was so perfect.
Okay.
So, let's see. In Austin, she would give messages from Austin to me, like, Austin said he loves you and stuff, and he's doing the drug treatment program at Comcor. Like, she would just update me with stuff, and it was okay coming from her, I just brushed it off. And then she brought me a letter from him from Comcor right before Christmas, and it kind of set me back, like, it regressed me because I know that he just lies to, like, reel me in. And after a while of being away from him, I could see that. I could start seeing that, and I didn't write back. I crumpled it up and I threw it. I ripped it and I threw it in the back of my closet and forgot about it. I found it. I actually did find it because I was looking for it forever, and I taped it back together. So, and I asked her not to do that again because it really regressed me. I really started like disassociating a lot, and I realized like I was having like a really bad reaction just to that one piece of paper. Mm-hmm. And so he kept writing to me, and she was like, well, I have more letters. And I said, no, I don't want them. And so it was like April. It was like the Friday before Easter that I got a call from some random number, like 3 missed calls from some random number. And when I looked at my phone, I called it back. And someone answered. They were like, oh, you have the wrong number, or I had the wrong number, and hung up. And then immediately called back. And when I answered it, it was Austin. And I was like, what do you want? And he said, I'm calling from my coworker's phone. And he was like, you need to tell Comcor that you want to have contact. You need to call Comcor or write Comcor a letter saying that you want to have contact with me. And I said, I don't want to have contact with you. I don't want anything to do with you. And he's like, but I love you. And I'm like, no, if you loved us, you wouldn't have treated us like this. I wouldn't be suffering this much. And he was like, well, you need to do that. You need to do that for me so I can see the kids. And I was like, you need to see the kids. And it was very, very hard for me to even say that. I had a friend with me who was like, no, Vicky, you need to be strong. She knows what was going on. She was like, don't you dare. Because I was like falling right back into it. And I was like frozen because I wanted to tell him off, but I could not bring it up to say it. It was the weirdest feeling ever. And finally, she was like, Vicky, you can hang up right now and call the police, hang up right now. And I was like, I have to go. And I hung up, and I was like, felt so proud of myself just for doing that. And I was so proud of myself. And thank God that she was there, because I don't know if I think I would have buckled immediately. And so she was like pressing me, you need to call the police, you need to call the police. And I was like, no, because then his mom won't help me anymore. If I call the police and he goes to prison, then I will lose all of that support. And so I didn't. So instead I went to her house and I told her, I said, he doesn't need to be contacting me. I can't. I'm regressing so far back in my progress, and I'm disassociating. And I didn't realize that I couldn't trust her at that time. I was kind of suspicious, but I needed her help more than my suspicion. Sure. So I told her, like, please don't give me any letters. Please don't talk to me about him. You know, and she was like, well, just write a letter, Vicky. And I was like, what? She was like, just write a letter saying you want to have contact with him so that the babies can see him or he can see the babies. And I told her no. It was like, what? After everything I just told you, you're going to just do this? And so this was middle of April. And the next time I saw her, she came to pick up Apollo on the next Thursday after that. And she brought letters, and I think I even brought them. So there were acknowledgement of paternity letters from Texas Attorney General or Texas.
Yeah, because they require that in order to do support and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, and so she brought me these letters, and she asked me to sign them, and she said that she was going to send them to Texas to have Austin put on the birth certificate, and I thought that was really weird. You know, why all of a sudden he's going to be in ComCorp for 4 years? What's the point of this? Where did she get this? And so I called Texas Attorney General's, and they called me back. And the woman who called me said, you can't even get these forms without having a lawyer to do it for you, or the OAG being like the facilitator. Mm-hmm. So they were like, these, whatever forms you have, they're not legitimate. She's like, I don't know where she got them. So it was really, really weird. That's what set off my alarms immediately. My alarms were going off for like hours. It was wrong. My intuition was like going crazy, screaming at me, do not sign it, do not sign it, do not sign it. So I just didn't even talk to her about it till she brought it up. And so when she brought that up, she said, I'm going to meet with Austin tonight. This was April 17th. And she said, do you have that paperwork filled out? If so, can I pick it up after work today? I can have him fill out the top part, and I'll pay the fee and get them mailed. And I responded saying, those are not the correct forms. Where did you get them from? And she sent me the Texas Attorney General link, the AOP. And she said, if you know what forms are needed, can you fill them out? Can I pick them up? And I said, I don't see those forms anywhere on that website. And then I circled where it said how to file an acknowledgement of paternity. And it says, to complete and file it, both parents must work with AOP certified entity, a lawyer, or the OAG. Mm-hmm. So I circled that part. And I said, because you can't get the forms unless there's a private attorney. But they would have sent the correct forms anyway. So those weren't even the correct forms. Right. And she didn't respond. And I said, so before the AOP gets filed, I think it's appropriate that you, Austin, and I negotiate a legal contract with clear parameters of visitations and a guarantee that the children will be returned to me after every visit, because I was suspicious that they were going to take my kids. Sure. Mm-hmm. That's the only, like, my deductive reasoning, that's the only reason why they would be trying to do this at this point. And so she didn't respond for a couple hours, and then she texted me with, like, some sticky note that Austin had written notes down and said, submit a copy of the original birth certificate to the Department of Vital Records in your state, pay the fee, ask the father to sign an affidavit acknowledging paternity, voluntary declaration, just notes. And so she said, so Austin was declined on his visitation with the kids until he can get proof of paternity. That didn't sound right to me. He has a couple of calls into a couple of different places on how to get this done. The pic I sent is from some notes he found online. When it's okay for you guys to see each other, a meeting in a neutral place to set up visits is fine on all sides. He isn't trying to take the kids away from you. He's just trying to see them. And so I called ComCorp to see, is that really what they said to him? Like, it didn't sound right. Like, why would you have to prove paternity in order to see a child? I'm sure lots of people in ComCorp are visiting with their nephews and, stepchildren and stuff. Like, It didn't sound right. So I called ComCorp. They called me back, and the woman I spoke to was like, you didn't sign anything, did you? And I was like, no. I have the whole thing recorded. I don't know what her name was, but I recorded the whole thing. Okay. And she said, you didn't sign anything? And I said, no, absolutely not. And she said, okay, don't sign anything. We would never have anybody pressure you to sign any paperwork or any legal documents. She said, and then that's not one of our policies. Like, not every dad has paternity of their kid. You don't have to prove paternity. That's really, really weird. And she went and looked on his specific case, and she was like, yeah, We've never said anything like that to him. So that is what made me immediately suspicious. Like, there is something really, really sick going on. And my number one thing was they're going to try and take my kids away.
Sure.
And so I told her what the Attorney General said. And then I said, also, Austin kept talking about DNA tests. So as he called me a whore every single day of both pregnancies, told me to get an abortion each time, even went as far as saying that the abortions were your idea, my ex-mother-in-law, and that she was going to pay for them. He literally smashed my car's windshield while I was driving on 32 Road, 8 months pregnant with Apollo, saying that she didn't want anything to do with him until we got a DNA test done. And he did even worse, trying to convince me that Artemis couldn't possibly be his, despite there being no chance of that being true. So he tried so hard to convince me that I'm a whore, and now that I turned out to be telling the truth, that's all supposed to get swept under the rug. And, he's just, okay, here, you go on the birth certificate, whatever. Like, I said, no, he can pay to get his DNA test done since he wants them so badly, and we can go from there. And that's when she flipped on me. And she was like, I'm done. My offer to see the kids is the same, but she wasn't going to pick them up anymore. I had to drop them off and pick them up at her house, and I just can't do that for my kids. And my mental state, I was like, no. So after that, she just stopped. So this was April 18th. April 18th was the last time I had heard from her, and that was a little over a month before I got arrested and my kids got taken from me. So yeah, after that, I had no help. She didn't come see the kids. I didn't get any relief from the kids, and I was overwhelmed from all of this happening, because that really just set me on a whole new level of overwhelmed and feeling powerless, not having a lot of support. And she knew it. They knew it. They wanted to cause me to get burnt out, so that then they can say, "Oh, well, see, she's not a fit mother. We should have the kids." And I knew that was happening, but there was I was watching from the outside, basically. There's nothing I can do. And so I just...
Wait, so I don't know what happened next. So then
Yes.
What did you get arrested for?
So I'm going to have to go back. Go back. Because
Okay.
Brittany Elder, when this was around Christmas, I asked her, can you take Apollo for a little bit so I can wrap Christmas presents?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, here's the thing, if I'm going to take him, it's going to have to be under the assumption that he's going to stay here. They're going to get custody of him. And I don't want to keep uprooting him. They had him once for 5 days. What does that mean, uprooting him? So this is the ex-sister-in-law. And so I have that text. And so Brittany Elder called the police because I posted a cute video of my son crawling. My son gets butt naked. My 1-year-old, Paulo, he gets butt naked any chance he gets. I used to have to put his onesies on backwards and zip them up backwards. Really, literally, every day. Or he was just, yeah. And so...
my son does the same thing.
Yes, I know. The boy thing. It's such a boy thing. And so I was texting with my ex-father-in-law, who I still have a good relationship with. He's in Montana, so he's removed from this whole
situation
cluster. Yeah. And so I was texting him about the boys sending pictures, and I said, hold on, I'll be right back. I gotta put Artemis down. The boys are screaming. Oh my God, it sounds like they're dying. And he was like, okay. And I go check on the boys, and they're playing The Floor is Lava, jumping off the furniture, and Apollo's butt naked. And I come back to my phone on the charger, and I was like, this is so cute. They're playing The Floor is Lava, and Apollo's butt naked. And he was like, oh my God. I said, I'm gonna send a video. It's too cute. So I go and I look over the ledge, and Apollo is crawling from the bedroom to the kitchen. And so he's crawling, and he's looking all cute, determined. He's so mischievous. And I mean, it's grainy, it's dark, it's grainy. You can see his butt crack, and that's it. My house was messy, but it was a cute video. I overlaid it with audio from Mermaid Fan and Barnacle Boy from SpongeBob. And he's like, evil, evil. It was just really cute. And I sent it to my ex-father-in-law, and he's like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. He thought it was so funny, and I made the mistake to upload it to Instagram. Because, I thought it was cute. And Brittany Elder called 911 and said, I'm uploading nude videos of my son. Yes. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
And so they put out a warrant for my arrest. I had already had a warrant because I was not complying with my probation. I had probation for child abuse in 2020, where I fell asleep and my son went outside. So he was 4 at the time, and he walked outside. As soon as he walked outside, my neighbor came up and was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he was like, "I can't find my mom." And I was asleep, and so he brought my son to a neighbor's house, and it just evolved from there. And I got a child abuse charge, so I took a plea deal. I was coerced into that, but that's another story. I was planning on trying to get Judge Rom to let me rescind my guilty plea, because I'm not guilty. I fell asleep. I wasn't knowingly trying to cause harm to my kid. And so I just wasn't taking action on that because I was so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. Like, that was just something that I could not handle at that point. And so naturally they issued a warrant. And so with that warrant, I'm pretty sure Austin, it's not hard to find out if someone has a warrant. All you have to do is call downstairs. And Austin knew about all of that stuff. And so I'm sure they knew I had a warrant. And when she made that call to 911 to report that, I'm sure it sounded, I don't know how she made it sound. I read the affidavit and she made it sound really, really bad, but I skimmed through it. And she called 911 and said I'm uploading nude videos of my son. And they issued a warrant, and they came and arrested me on May 22nd in the morning. They came to my house. They had my apartment office call me and say, "Hey, we need you to come sign something." And I told her, my kids are asleep. She's like, "Well, you have to hurry because we're going to leave soon." So I was like, "What the heck?" It sounded really weird. So I was walking to my car to get my double stroller to put my babies in. And I noticed that there were a bunch of cop cars at the front office. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to go get my son because I'm probably going to go to jail." Apollo was asleep upstairs. So we walked back to my house, and that's when they got me, and they were like, "You're under arrest." And I was like, "For what?" And they were like, "You have child abuse warrants." And they're like, "You need to give me your daughter." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to give you my daughter." And as soon as he ripped my daughter out of my arms, I went black, like a great white shark. My eyes went black, and I just
Mama bear
lost all civilization.
Yeah,
I just went all the way back to Neanderthal mindset. I don't know. I was not going to control myself after that. So I was yelling at him a lot, but I didn't resist arrest. After they got my daughter, I didn't resist them putting handcuffs on me. I didn't try and fight them. I didn't I was using my mouth a lot, basically.
Okay.
Hurling anything that I was not thinking. So, then they went inside. My son was asleep upstairs. The house was very messy because I hadn't had any help. And so I had been cleaning, but not to the standards that I usually keep my house clean. And it looked awful on the outside. Upstairs was clean. The bed was clean. My kids are in clean clothes. So Apollo was asleep upstairs. I had to knock down baby gates and stuff to get to him. And they were like, "Do you have anyone who can take your kids?" And I said, "My dad." So they called my dad, and my dad was thinking that he might have to keep my kids for a long time, not just overnight. He told them, "Oh, we're old. We can't take them." And so sure enough, they called Brittany Elder. The person called the police, and now she's got my kids. Okay. And I believe that they're also doing this to, this will happen around tax season. And I kind of feel like they see my kids as a paycheck. Especially now that they're doing kinship care, they're making a big paycheck every month off of my kids. Mm-hmm. And they don't even care about Artemis, I'm really, really worried about her. I know they love Apollo because Austin loves Apollo, but
how old is Artemis?
Artemis, she's going to be a year in a few days.
Okay.
Her first birthday's in a few days, and they put out a restraining order, a no contact order, when I was in jail. On Friday, got Judge Rom to vacate that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So Judge Rom knows me. He knows my kids. He hasn't met Artemis, but he knows my other kids. And he's also the judge in Austin's TV cases.
Oh. Okay.
So he knows.
So he knows the background.
Yes, he knows everything very well. So he had no problem with vacating that. But he said, because there's a CPS case, there's supposed to be a protection order, some kind of protection order in place. So I don't just go pick them up.
So he'll go by whatever they.
Yes, and he gave all control of the future protection order stuff to Magistrate Hardin, and so that's where I'm at right now. And I
Are
really...
you working with CPS to do whatever they're requiring?
I haven't even met a caseworker yet.
Okay.
They have missed 3 appointments to come to my house. I clean my house deep clean because I have all the time in the world now. And 3 appointments they have missed. They're not taking me seriously. Like, when I tell them, like, look, this is not legitimate. This is, like, abuse by proxy. This is not right. She just does not hear me or something, or, like, I sound emotional, so I sound, like, mentally ill or something. And
well, we're all emotional about our kids.
Absolutely.
That's
oh, yeah. If I cry,
understandable.
like, everyone's telling me, do not cry in front of them. Do not cry in front of them. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And I can't communicate with them for some reason. And when I have told them, they write down in the report something completely different. Like, yeah, I think I have it somewhere sheltered here and stuff. But I just have so much, like all of these are texts from Austin, like abusive texts from Austin. No, not that. This is just your stuff.
Like before he went to ComCore or after?
Yes, this is right before. Well, this is, the past, when I was pregnant. I mean, he's just on and on and on, just constantly barraging me with horrible, like, just calling me every name over and over again. And, like, I ran out of ink printing everything out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is from county. That's from the Getting Out app. So that was since he got arrested. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is even relevant.
So probably not for me, but all of the contact post the restraining order is relevant.
Okay, so press this recent restraining order or the first one?
The first one.
The very first one in October 2020. So like, this is all.
That's okay. Has that been documented anywhere else?
No.
Okay. Well,
so let me make sure this all from, because some of it's from his mom. So this is all since the first restraining order, and I have more. I just ran out of ink. So much more.
Where are you at with your civil case then? Do you have a court date set with Mr. Harding?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay.
It is. I'm not sure if it's a review hearing, but it is in front of them. I don't know how to get this information to DHS or who oversees, what DHS is doing, because she's not the caseworker, she's the assessment.
Mm-hmm. The assessment team.
The assessment team. Her name is Lauren McGee, and she is more concerned that I was able to read the affidavit than any other information.
Public information.
She's so offended about that. Every time I bring up, so Brittany Elder called because, how do you know that she called? How do you know that she called? You shouldn't know that. And I'm like, okay, well, I do. Can we move on? I can't unknow this stuff. And she just gets hung up on the fact that I was able to read that. And it's just like, okay, well, this is why. And she just does not hear me after that. And I don't know how else, and I don't want to fight these people because they're in control of me getting my kids back.
Of course.
So I'm trying to be as civil as possible, and I'm not trying to push too much, but it's so frustrating. And so I know that this is wrong. I know that.
So I'm going to, like a squirrel, I'm going to reroute you for a second. Okay, so we have the arrest from the phone call made from the jail on June 17th, 2022. Mm-hmm. And then this is from October 16th, 2022. Do we have the pictures of the letters that were sent from the defendants?
They're not in order, but...
And what is the content of his contact? Like, just
trying to be, like, sweet, like, trying to reel me back in.
Trying to win you back over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like, trying to be, like, innocent, and I love you, and XOXOXO, and I just, like, and so since I did not bite this time, they just went full in, like, for the neck. And And yeah, when he appeared in court for the shelter hearing, he was just all smiles. He was so like, smug, and it was just disgusting. And these are the letters. Those are the photos of his dad.
Okay.
This is since the first protection order.
Now, what about the letter from him given around Christmas time from his mother? That's that one? Okay. Okay. And then I think the text messages from her would be beneficial as well for me to make copies of those.
You can have them, yeah. Let's see, I think I have 3 copies of them.
There's a lot.
So there's been ongoing contact from him since he was arrested.
Yes.
Oh, and the 3 calls from
His mom.
from the coworker's phone. Do you know when those were?
April 7th, I believe it was the Friday before Easter.
Friday before Easter.
And I saved that phone number so I can know to answer it. But he hasn't called me from that number ever since.
Want that phone number?
Yeah. I'll need to take a photo of that. So, you talked about how when his mother gave you the letter that it set you back.
Yes.
Can you describe that for us?
At first I was like, I don't believe anything that he says. And then I started to think, well, maybe he's sober now and he's come to his senses. But it's like over the top, like really trying to reel me back in. And like every single time that he's had a chance to change how he treats me, he just treats me worse. And I know that, and I'm drilling it into my own head, but I'm still like wanting to believe it. And it hurts so much that like he's just pretending. Why can't he just hate me? You know, Can't he just hate me and not talk to me anymore? And I'm just in my head going back and forth, like really trying to knock some sense into myself, but also like wanting to believe that like this can work. It's not ever going to work, and I know that definitely, especially, yeah. And so I started disassociating just because the feelings were so conflicting and so like painful. It's so painful to know that I gave birth back to back for the student. He just had me back and talked crap about me, how much of a terrible mother I am to his family, got them to believe that, got them in on this like conspiracy, I don't know what else to call it, to like defraud me of my kids just to hurt me. Not because they care about the kids, because if they cared about the kids when I was asking for help, they would have helped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you care about the kids, you're not just going to hope and pray that like I'm tortured because I'm asking for help. You're going to say, what can we do to help? You know, care about the kids first, not I hope that he's in pain first. You know, that's what I'm thinking that they wanted. But yeah.
Are you seeing a therapist?
Yes.
It's
Jackie Owen.
How long have you been seeing Jackie?
Well, Jackie was at first my good cause person for TANF. She works at DHS.
Uh-huh.
And when she saw, so usually you have to like make your case, like why you don't want to go after them for child support. And Jackie knows my situation from the first time I got TANF. And so at a certain point, I got so many videos that when we had our next appointment, it's every 6 months you have to redo it. So when we had our last appointment, for a good cause, all I did was send her 3 links to 3 videos that I had uploaded from my security cameras. And when we had our meeting, she was like, I'll watch the videos. I'm recommending you for good cause. I didn't even have to state my case because there are videos of him, 35-minute videos, of him just abusing me nonstop. And you can hear like him hitting me and just being cruel. Those are ever since the protection of the two.
Okay.
And the most recent one is April 9th. But it's around that time that I was able to save those videos. He started just breaking my security cameras and unplugging them and taking the SD cards out so I wouldn't have, the records of it. But some videos I was able to save and I uploaded them privately on YouTube. So I had them stored somewhere else besides the SD cards.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I forgot about them for a long time because I forgot about a lot of the abuse. If I didn't have those videos, I would have forgotten those days even happened, as I was repressing it so badly and disassociating throughout most of that entire thing. Because if I was thinking clearly, I would have never let him in my house again. I was not thinking clearly at all. He had me like brainwashed, kind of, and really like not confident about myself or my abilities at all. And I don't know, like I'm really embarrassed about that. So
You shouldn't be embarrassed. Don't be so hard on
I know
yourself.
I shouldn't, but like, yeah, like all the things that he said to me, like just reading all this stuff over again, going back through the texts and the Facebook Messenger stuff. I guess like, why did I put up with this? Like
We call that a master manipulator, just so you know. He's a master at it.
he's not that smart though. Like he
No,
thinks
it doesn't take much.
Yeah, but when you're emotionally involved,
Smart.
Yeah.
yeah.
They become very good at it. They know what to do to make you, you know.
and you have children together, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Very. Who was the friend that was present when he called you?
My friend Joni.
Joni.
I don't know her last name. She just got a divorce. I can ask her.
Will you give me her phone number?
Yes. Oh yeah, she'll tell you probably better than I can remember because I was going through disassociating throughout the whole thing, so she can probably like give you a better account of that. It's 970-234-3679.
Okay.
And that coworker is 970-314-6230.
Can I take a photo of that?
Yeah, for the brightness.
Can I see the call log of when they called? Sorry, I don't
No.
want to poke around in your phone.
I was looking for that, and it's not there anymore. So my call log goes as far back as
Mm-hmm.
April 2nd, and it should be there. I don't know why that got erased. I have like one from March 15th, April 2nd, and then April 25th. And I had calls in between that, so.
Okay.
Can we get those like at, who are you with, Verizon or who?
AT&T.
Can AT&T give you those?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you contact them.
Okay, and get my data. Okay, let me write that down.
So I think the best thing for me to do is make a copy of everything, and then we'll need to. I'm gonna shut this down.